It's time for the Money Puzzle Podcast. With good conversations and realistic solutions to the money puzzles we all face every day. I'm your host, financial advisor, chartered financial consultant, and president of Edgen Insurance and Financial, Robert Edgen. Now let's get this show started. Hi there, hello, and welcome to the Money Puzzle Podcast. I am Robert Edgen. I'll be your guide for the ride for the next few minutes. Each week we look at a different piece of the money puzzle and practical ways to solve it so you can have the financial confidence you deserve and the future that you dream of. 2019 was great, but it's over. It's behind us. We're never going to think about it again. No, that's not true, but we are moving on to 2020. And today we're talking about New Year's resolutions, why I don't like them, why most of them fail, but what you can do to make sure that yours come true. So why are we talking about resolutions? Well, because it's the start of a new year and everyone is talking about resolutions. You're probably talking about them with people at work. You might be making bets to see who fails first or how long people's will last. But resolutions are on everyone's minds this time of year. So here we are talking about them too. We've been in the middle of a series on the most important money moves you can make based on the decade of your life that you are in, but we're going to take a break from that since it is the first Friday in January. Actually, this is the second Friday in January. We took last Friday off because it was 2 days after New Year's, so here we are kicking off the year talking about resolutions. We'll be back next week, again, talking about the most important money moves to make in each decade of your life. Before we get to our hot topic for today, I do a lot of reading and research, and I come across different financial news and headlines that catch my eye, so I thought we'd take a minute to look at some news. Today's article comes to us from entrepreneur.com, and the headline reads, How One Infant's Obsession Led His Parents to a Booming Business. It says Lisa Greenwald had spent 12 years in J. Crew's merchandising department and had amassed quite a collection of costume jewelry. When her son was a baby, he always wanted to put one particular brightly colored necklace in his mouth. Lisa says that he and every other single baby I ever picked up was entranced by it, she said. People thought I was some kind of baby whisperer, but I would tell them, I swear it's just the necklace. So first Lisa wondered what made the item so special, but then she thought that someone should make a version for babies to chew on, like her and her husband. So they launched Chew Beads in 2009 with the idea of making chewable necklaces for babies. But if you just say that out loud, chewable necklaces for babies, you can probably guess that it's not quite that easy because it goes on to say there were no products like this on the market. They were unsure of which safety testing standards they needed to follow. Was it for toys or necklaces? Chew beads aren't exactly either, it says, and there are legal limits on the length of babies' toy strings and ribbons, so they couldn't actually create a necklace for babies. But they stuck with it, and now they have sold hundreds of thousands of necklaces and actually launched a whole new industry and a slew of products that are now sold on Amazon and at thousands of stores nationwide. They ended up making necklaces for parents to wear that the babies could chew on. Now, I love this story because it shows that there are literally thousands of ways to get creative, to start a business, and to make some money, even if it's in an area where people have already been making money forever. Now, I don't know how big the things your baby can chew on market is, but I would imagine that it is already humongous. You know, there are already major toy companies and retailers making millions of dollars. But here's this little mom and pop startup, literally, that has figured out a new way of marketing and doing things and growing a very successful business out of it. And I am impressed. So good job to the Greenwald family. It's actually a very interesting story. And if you'd like to read the whole thing, kind of see where Chew Beads has come from and where it's gone, I've got the article link in the show notes directly below this video, so go check that out. But for now, let's go ahead and get to today's hot topic. All right, so here we are, kicking off 2020, which is crazy because I remember being very scared about Y2K crashing my computers like it was just a year ago, but alas, that was 20 years ago. Now it's January 2020, and I'm recording this for the second Friday in January, which means that by now, almost half of everyone who made a New Year's resolution has already given up on it. 80% of resolutions will fail in the first 3 weeks of January, according to a U.S. news report. In fact, January 17th is the day that most resolutions die. What a sad day. Now, I know 80% failing is a crazy big number, but I'm sure that you see it to happen to most people around you who make resolutions. Personally, I stopped making resolutions years ago, in part so that I wouldn't have to feel like a loser when I failed at keeping it 3 weeks into the new year. But here's the thing, most resolutions that people make are more like wishes or goals than resolutions anyways. I'm going to get out of debt this year. I'm going to save more money. I'm going to make $1 million. According to dictionary.com, a resolution is a firm decision to do or not to do something specific. Or, the other definition is determining upon an action, course of action, method, or procedure. So a resolution involves something specific. Getting out of debt is a result of doing something specific. Making more money is a result of doing something specific. The resolutions are the things you did that allowed you to pay off your debt or to make more money. Resolutions are specific, but they're also action-oriented. If we go back to dictionary.com, it says determining upon an action, course of action, method, or procedure. So resolutions that don't list action items to do aren't really resolutions. They're more like daydreams or fantasies. It would be great to make more money and have no debt. I can picture it in my mind and it's beautiful. Yes, I'm sure it is, but that's called a fantasy, not a resolution. If you don't have action items of specific things to do, your mind is the only place that you'll be making more money or getting out of debt. So one of the big problems with resolutions is that people aren't really making resolutions. They're just listing out their dreams and fantasies for the new year. The other problem with resolutions is that most people go overboard and have too many things that they want to accomplish all at once. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to train harder at the gym. I'm going to follow a financial budget while working harder to earn more money so I can pay off my credit cards while completing the Boston Marathon. Whew. That is a lot of stuff, but that's what a heck of a lot of people do every January is they try to tackle too much. Now, all of those things would be awesome, but it's a lot to get done, and it would require a lot of self-discipline. Now, according to Psychology Today, resolutions fail first because they aren't specific enough, but they fail second because people get overwhelmed with all that they're trying to do, and they feel discouraged, so they give up. Bill Gates once said, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, and they underestimate what they can do in 10 years. Now, I'm not suggesting that you spread your resolutions out over a 10-year period, but perhaps you should try to tackle less resolutions this year, or at least tackle them one at a time. Now, when it comes down to it, there is really only one financial resolution that you need for the new year. In fact, if this was your only financial resolution every year for the rest of your working life, you would be better off financially than most of the world and most people you know. Now, is this the only financial thing that you should do? No, of course not. But if you were only going to have one, this would be the one.
One thing. Just one thing.
So, what is it? What's that one resolution? The only financial resolution you need is this. Save 15% of your annual earnings for the future. That's it. The first thing you should do with every single paycheck and every dollar earned is to take 15% and move it into an account for the future. It doesn't matter how much or how little you are earning. 15% is 15%. If your last paycheck was $100, that's $15. If it was $10,000, that's $1,500. Where you save, how you invest, your average return on your investments, these are all important, but none of those things are as important as setting aside the money to begin with. Because if you don't set aside the money, none of those other things matter anyway. Your savings rate, which is how much money you save every month, is one of the few things that you have complete control over when you're planning for the future. You cannot control how the stock market performs. You cannot control what investment returns you get, but you can control how much you choose to save. Financial website wisebread.com agrees, and they actually say, shooting for a high return is laudable. The rest of the quote goes on to say, but what often gets lost in this discussion is the most powerful element of building wealth, saving as much money as you can in the first place. There is ample evidence, the quote says, that it is the initial savings, not the investment gains, that determines how much money you end up with over time. So, what really matters for your future is that you make a resolution to save a specific amount of money, a percentage from your paycheck, and that you have an action list of when and how you will do it. Here's the bottom line. Most people cannot out-invest a bad savings rate. Most people cannot invest half of the money that they should be investing for the future and make up for it by earning more on their investments. That's just not how it works, and chances are that's not how it will work for you. But here's the cool thing. Saving 15% will not only get you a boatload of money for your retirement. Boatload is a technical term, by the way. It also fixes a lot of other financial problems too, besides not having enough money to ever stop working and retire. It also forces you to live within your means. And it also helps you control your finances better. It helps you deal with financial emergencies when they come up. Now, you might have heard me, I said when, not if, financial emergencies come up, because I promise you they always do. But it allows you to be more conservative in your investing as well when you have a good savings rate. That way you can get more consistent returns and help build your financial confidence. So what if you're not saving 15% today? Should you just go from nothing to 15% tomorrow? I know that can be a big adjustment, and it probably seems and feels overwhelming. And that's one of the reasons that resolutions fail, right? Because people get overwhelmed. So we need to come up with a specific action item or set of things to do to make sure that that doesn't happen. Here's the deal. The average American is already saving 3.8% of their income per year, according to a CNBC report. You don't have to go from 3% to 15% at once. Just start adding a certain percentage each month or each quarter. I would suggest adding 1% per month or per quarter until you get there. It's a small adjustment which makes it easier, and it will give you time to get used to those higher amounts. So even if right now you're saving 0 towards your retirement, towards your future, and you added 1% every 3 months, you'd be saving 15% of your income in just under 4 years. And you would have specific actions to do and steps to follow to help you be more self-disciplined and achieve your resolution. It might hurt a little bit at first, but if you're like most people, once you see your retirement account start to explode and grow, you'll forget all about the few extra bucks that you didn't get to take home and spend on Starbucks or Netflix or one of the other things that we spend money on that is here today and gone tomorrow. So that's it. The only financial resolution that you will ever need. Pretty simple to talk about, but not quite as easy to put into practice. But I promise it's 100% doable for everyone to save 15%. Now, where you save that 15% is a whole different conversation, and it will be different for every person based on your personal circumstances. But here's a quick breakdown on where to start, and that would be with your work retirement plan if they give you some kind of match on your savings. If not, another place is a Roth IRA. And then, of course, you should be saving money in an emergency, or what I like to call an opportunity fund, for emergencies and opportunities as well. We've talked about all of those things in the past: your work retirement accounts, Roth IRAs, emergency and opportunity funds. And I have no doubt that we will be talking about them again in the future. That's what we do. But that gives you a few ideas on where to start your savings. If you've got specific questions for your personal situation on where you should be putting that money, then reach out to us. Shoot us an email to questions@yourmoneypuzzle.com, or pick up the phone and give us a call, 719-685-8585. But there you have it. That's your money puzzle tip for the week and the only financial resolution that you need for the new year. All right, that's it for this week. I hope you got some value from the show. If you did, please make sure that you share it with a friend, a family member, a coworker who needs to get their year started off right and make sure they meet those financial resolutions. If you've got questions for us, email them over to questions@yourmoneypuzzle.com. And please go on whatever podcast app you're listening to. Rate us, give us a thumbs up. Also go find us on YouTube. You can watch the videos and subscribe there as well. Until next week, be safe, have some fun, and go do something to help improve your money puzzle. Your future self will thank you for it. Thanks and have a great week.
Registered representative of and securities offered through Securities Management and Research, Inc., SM&R. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through BFC Planning, Inc. Edgen Insurance and Financial Services, Johnson Financial Services, SM&R, American National Family of Companies, and BFC Planning are independent entities. There are risks involved with investing which may include market fluctuation and possible loss of principal value. Particular investments may not be suitable for certain situations. Carefully consider the risks and possible consequences involved prior to making an investment decision. Our firm does not provide legal or tax advice. Be sure to consult with your own legal and tax advisors before taking any action that may have tax implications.